The story begins far away, in the deep, unknown ocean, where we see a big ship battling tall, crashing waves in bad weather. Then, we see Baron, the king of Russia, with his soldiers. A magician asks the king why he crossed 7 seas just to find him. The king replies that only the magician can heal his daughter. The magician tells the king that yes, his magical book can do anything. It has many spells for miracles, including one that will bring the king's daughter's sight back again. After that, let's check out King Baron's kingdom, where his daughter Daria is learning sword fighting from General Thomas. Although Daria can't see much, she's able to sense even the slightest sound or movement and defend herself against every enemy attack. But Thomas defeats her to show that she still has a lot to learn. Later, the queen comes to Daria and tells her that tonight her father's ship will arrive at the shore. He's bringing back a magical book with spells that will heal her eyesight. Princess Daria happily dances with joy. Meanwhile, Thomas is chopping wood, and Father Sergei orders him and Bala to take the wood to the dock and light a fire tonight because the king's ship is returning. The fire will guide the ship safely back to shore in the dark. Just then, an old man named Uncle Semin rings the time bell to let everyone know the time. At the same moment, his nephew Ivan comes to see him. Ivan says he just got a clerk job and now wants to start doing business too. He believes this way, he'll soon become a big merchant. But for that, he needs to borrow some money. Then Uncle Semin tells him, "Son, don't lie so much. You went to the city for a job, but I've heard from people that you cheat and fool them to take their money, and then you lose it all gambling." Uncle Semin scolds Ivan. "Your big brother Thomas is the commander of King Baron's army, and you're doing all this? You should be ashamed. Why are you ruining our family's name?" At night, Father Sergei Bala asks, "How long are we going to live like servants like this?" Meanwhile, the king and his family lives in a lavish palace after looting all the money, gold, and silver. Today, we're going to sink this king's ship, steal all the treasure, and go to another country to become big merchants. Sergei asks Bala if we're doing the right thing and if he's with him. Bala says we're about to betray the king, which is a huge crime, and if we get caught, we'll be hanged. So, we have to kill the king and everyone on the ship no matter what. Just then, Thomas catches up to them and stops them, asking what they're doing here when they should be safe on shore. He was told to start the fire, but what are you doing over there by the rocky shore? Before Thomas could realize their plan, Sergei sneaked up behind him and knocked him out. After that, Sergei and Bala teamed up and, as planned, set fire to all the wood by the rocky shore. Just as the crew started steering the ship toward the fire to get closer, their ship crashed against a big rock and broke apart. When morning came, Sergei and Bala began searching through the wreckage and debris of the ship to loot all the treasure and make their escape. They went searching everywhere but couldn't find even a single gold coin, which made Sergei and Bala really angry. Just then, they heard the magician's voice. He was taking his last breath. The magician told Sergei to deliver the book to the queen and warned that the book must not fall into the hands of any evil force or person. After saying this, the magician passed away. Sergei took the book from his hands while Bala grabbed the pouch hanging around the magician's neck. At first, the book seemed ordinary to Sergei, but as soon as he read the storm spell, a storm rose up in the sea. A huge storm kicked off when Sergei realized that with this book, he could rule the whole world. This book was worth more than any treasure. But just then, the queen arrived with her soldiers. As soon as she saw Thomas lying unconscious, she knew they had betrayed her. She was about to punish them and attack with Thomas's sword, but at that moment, Sergei recited a hypnotic spell from the book. The queen couldn't do anything to them anymore and became Sergei's slave. Sergei tells Bala, "This is just the beginning. Wait and see what's next." So, just as I was doing all this, the queen's soldiers and palace staff showed up. Sergei then told the queen to take charge of everyone. After that, the queen said, "Thomas was a traitor. He deliberately led the ship to those rocky shores intending to loot the treasure, which caused the ship to wreck and everyone, including the king, to die. But Sergei and Bala caught Thomas in the act and killed him." Hearing this, everyone asked the queen, "So, who's our king now?" The queen replied, "Father Sergei is the new king from now on." Everyone was just an ordinary. They were pretty shocked to see a servant become king, but since it was the queen's order, they had to obey and bowed respectfully to the new king, Sargi. Actually, whatever words the queen was saying, Sargi was quietly having her repeat them. Then Sargi sent everyone back with the queen. The next moment, when Thomas came to, Sargi chanted a spell from the book again and turned him into a bird. Thomas quickly flew away. After that, the palace officials and soldiers went to Uncle Simon's house and announced the new king's decree. Your nephew Thomas was a traitor who, driven by greed, tried to kill the king and everyone else. Thomas was executed as punishment for treason, and from now on, all his property will be confiscated. Hearing this, Uncle Simon and Ivan were shocked and tried to explain that Thomas couldn't have done such a thing. In the heat of the argument, Ivan got into a fight with them and ended up getting jailed. Meanwhile, in the palace, Sargi tells the queen that he's appointing Bala as the new commander of the kingdom, and the queen agrees with him. Just then, Princess Daria hears her mother's voice and comes in, asking why her father hasn't come yet. Seeing Daria, Sargi asks the queen, Do you recognize the girl whom Rani outright refuses to acknowledge? Rani was completely mesmerized, having forgotten everything from her past, so much so that she couldn't even recognize her own daughter. Hearing Sargi's voice from the throne where her father sat, Daria sensed something was wrong. Angry, she stormed towards Sargi, shouting, Where is my father? And what have you done to my mother? Daria then attacked him, but before she could do any harm, Bala grabbed her tightly. After that, Sargi told Rani to leave because she probably wouldn't be able to watch what was about to happen. After that, he chanted a mantra and turned the pouch into a glowing light. The glowing light made a loud noise, spun around Bala, and slipped into the pouch hanging around his neck. Scared, Bala took the pouch off and put it aside. Before they could do anything with the pouch, Thomas, who had turned into a bird, sneaked in, grabbed the pouch, and flew out through the window into the sky to save the princess's life. But just then, Bala shot at him and badly wounded him. The pouch fell into a dry well in the nearby forest. Seeing this, Sargi and Bala assumed that both the princess and Thomas were done for. He was gone, and now no one could stop him. Just like that, 3 years passed. One day, Ivan was gambling with a soldier in jail. In this bet, the soldier lost his uniform, and gradually Ivan put on the entire uniform. When the soldier asked for his uniform back after the game, Ivan made a fuss and called the guards outside. He framed the soldier by accusing him of trying to escape. Taking advantage of the chaos, Ivan locked everyone inside the jail and escaped. When the palace soldiers found out, they started searching everyone quickly. Ivan recognized him, so Ivan had to run. In the end, Ivan joined the parade and fooled everyone. But actually, this parade of soldiers was heading to fight a war. That's how Ivan reached Raj Sharud's kingdom, where the kingdom's army and the neighboring kingdom's army were at war. Explosions were going off everywhere, and the enemy kept attacking them. Ivan thought that if he didn't get killed by the soldiers, he'd probably get blown up by the bombs. So he fired a few shots and used the excuse of gathering them to slip away into the forest. He ran off and hid inside the same well where Thomas had dropped that pouch. When Ivan opened the pouch, he found a stone and a piece of metal, which he thought was some kind of fire-starting tool, so he kept it. A little while later, when Ivan woke up, he saw that 2 soldiers had caught him. Then, scared of General Junk, Ivan tried to run away, but the general humiliated him in front of everyone, called him a coward and a deserter, and ordered that he be shot. Just as the 2 soldiers were taking Ivan away to shoot him, suddenly, Ivan saw a big something flying in the sky. Ivan saw a rope hanging from the balloon and grabbed it to save himself. When he got up there, he asked the guy flying the balloon about it. Gene said he was an explorer, someone who loves discovering the world, and he was just passing through. Evan then said he'd land at a safe spot ahead, and Gene agreed, but warned him not to touch anything. But Evan wasn't about to listen. He'd never seen a flying balloon like this before. He turned a lever, but it broke, and hot air started filling the balloon. It shuts down like Gene is really angry with it. They were slowly starting to go down. Gene says that there's only enough air left in this balloon for one person to fly, so you have to jump down right away. But Ivan doesn't listen. Then Gene gives him some coins, and Ivan, hanging from the rope, jumps into the forest. This makes the balloon lighter, and it flies back up into the sky. But Ivan hits his head on a tree and falls unconscious right there. After a while, Ivan thinks about gathering wood to start a fire. Just then, he finds a well. The princess tried to start a fire by rubbing metal and stone, and she got free. Daria thought Ivan was an enemy and hit him with a stick, but when she quickly touched his uniform, she realized he was a soldier. Ivan also realized that Daria couldn't see well. Ivan asked her how she got out of the device, or if she was hiding behind some bush or tree. Daria said it was a magical device that grants people's wishes, but in its own way, it can either benefit or harm the person making the wish. Still, Ivan didn't believe any of it. It was happening, but he jokingly asked the machine for 5 coins. Just then, Ivan heard a man calling from deep in the forest, asking if he could help split his firewood, promising to give him 5 coins in return. Ivan refused, and the man disappeared with his cart. Daria said, "See, this is all thanks to the machine." Then Daria revealed that she was a princess, and Sergei had tricked and killed her father. The queen was bewitched and controlled, and Sergei became the new king. What Daria didn't know was that Ivan wasn't a soldier, but an escaped prisoner. So, she gave him her earring and told him to go inside the palace and give it to the queen, hoping that seeing it might jog her mother's memory. Ivan took the earring. Then Ivan got an idea and asked, "If you're really a princess, you should know every path in the palace, every place perfectly, but you can't even see properly." To that, Daria counted her steps and showed him all the secret passages. Daria thought Ivan was helping because he was a soldier, but actually, Ivan was a selfish, cheating gambler who only cared about himself. He was lost and thought about himself. Then Ivan took Daria to a roadside eatery in the city and told her to stay there until he returned from the palace. Before leaving, he gave the owner a coin and asked him to feed Princess Daria. Meanwhile, Sergei was really angry with Bala because if he hadn't used the spells from the book in today's battle, they would have lost. Sergei told Bala to make the army stronger and explained that he couldn't keep using those spells over and over. Back at the eatery, a lot of time had passed while Daria was sitting there, and the owner told her it was time to clear the place. Daria asked to stay a little longer, but the owner said if she didn't have money and wanted to stay, she'd have to wash the dishes. So, despite being a princess of Raj, Daria had to wash dishes at a small roadside eatery in her own kingdom. Meanwhile, Ewan sneaked into the palace, gathering gold and silver items, stuffing them into a big sack, trying to sneak out. Actually, Ewan wasn't there to help Daria. He came to steal stuff. Poor innocent Daria thought Ewan was helping her, even though all the guards were strict. Ivan faced a lot of trouble because he was being guarded, but he made a little noise. Hearing that, the soldiers caught him in a room. When they saw that one soldier had so many valuable items, they realized he was a disguised thief. All the palace soldiers tried to catch Ivan, but he was really clever. He managed to slip away through different paths, but in the end, to hide, he slipped into a small tunnel. Falling through it, he ended up right in King Sergei's court. The next moment, the soldiers. He grabbed him and threw him straight into jail. When he reached Sergei Rani, he was really shocked and worried because while sewing, Rani had made a picture of Princess Daria. Angrily, Sergei asked again, "Do you know this girl?" But Rani flat out denied it. Rani explained that her hands made the picture on their own, and then she threw it away. Seeing this, tears came to Rani's eyes. Meanwhile, Pakshi told Jiwan, "If you want to save your life, you have to do exactly as I say. Otherwise, tomorrow the executioner will start hanging you upside down and cutting you into pieces, Your Majesty." Sergei needs to be told that you know about his book of spells and how he killed King Baron and enchanted the queen. The bird explains that most of the magical ink in the spells written in Sergei's magic book has dried up. Without magical ink, the spells won't work. So, you need to ride the mechanical horse and head to the forested hills far from here to first get some magical ink. After that, go to the bird island and get a pen made from the feathers of a magical bird, because only with that pen can the spells be filled with magical ink. But Ivan still couldn't believe a bird was actually talking to him. He kept asking, "Who are you? Why are you helping me?" Just then, Ivan's eyes snapped open, and he realized it was all a dream. The next morning, just as the executioner was about to finish Ivan off, Ivan, desperate to save his life, told Sergei that he knew his secret, that magical book and how the ink for its spells was running out, meaning his power wouldn't last much longer. Hearing this, Sergei freed Ivan and asked, "So, what do you know?" He said he could help him, but for that, he'd have to go to Banin's Hill and get the magical ink and a pen made from feathers, which would boost the power of the spells again. Ivan said he'd work for him, but in return, Sargi would make him a king too. Sargi agreed, saying, "All right, I'll make you king of some small country, but first, finish this task." Ivan said he'd need a mechanical iron horse from the kingdom for the journey, and Sargi agreed to that. When Ivan saw the mechanical horse, he was totally blown away. From the looks of it, there was no way the horse could make it through this 2-mile journey. The horse was in really bad shape, but the bird told him to use it anyway, so Ewan got on the horse. To keep it moving, Ewan had to put a lot of coins into the horse, but it still moved really slowly. So Ewan fell asleep. After a while, the horse brought Ewan right in front of the same roadside eatery where Daria had stopped. When Ewan came to, he panicked and asked the horse, "Why did you bring me here? Hurry up, start moving, and get out of here. Go wash the dishes." The kids around the river were making fun of them. Just then, Daria heard their voices and started walking towards them. She asked if they had met her mother and if they had given her my earrings. But selfish Ivan couldn't answer any of her questions because he didn't want Daria with him. At that moment, the dhaba owner started looking at Ivan with a disdainful glare. To avoid embarrassment, Ivan quickly put Daria on the horse and moved on. By nightfall, they reached Uncle Simon's house and spent the night there. The next morning, they set off on their journey again. Many days passed like this. Sometimes they crossed dense forests, other times the ocean waters, until they finally reached the Bainan Hills. There, Ewan found a small cave. He told Daria to stay outside while he went in alone. Inside, he saw that Bono had built a magical world just like theirs. Meanwhile, the Bainan caught him and imprisoned him. Their king said that no outsiders were allowed to come here, so Ewan had to die. To save himself, Ewan told a fake story that he was one of them too, actually from a few years ago. He used to be one of them too, but by mistake, he ended up in the outside world, and that's how he grew up. Anyone who goes there ends up growing up. But now, he wants to live with them again. Hearing this, the Bainan king laughed out loud, making Ivan think his plan worked. He'd fooled everyone. But then the king said, "If you want to live with us, you'll have to become a Bono again." After that, the soldiers brought a saw, and the king asked, "Tell me, where should I cut to make you small again?" Seeing this, Ivan started screaming and shouting, "Don't do this!" His screams made Daria rush over, and when Ivan saw her, he was told to leave immediately, but Daria said if anyone even touched her brother Ivan, she would beat them up badly. So, the king arranged a fight between his general and Daria to spare Ivan's life, even blindfolding the general to make it fair. The fight began, and Daria listened carefully to every step the general took, defending herself. At times, the general even attacked her, which was pretty humiliating for him. Frustrated, he finally took off the blindfold and got ready to strike Daria hard. They attacked, but at that moment, Daria moved away just like a general who's about to fall. Then Daria pulled him back up and saved his life. Seeing this, the king and all the villagers were really happy. Daria had already won the fight, so Ivan was set free. As a reward, the king gave both of them a bottle filled with magical ink and told them they'd find that magical pen after crossing the icy mountains of Bird Island. To help them, he also gave them warm clothes. Outside, Ivan was really angry at himself because Daria got into trouble just because of him. He thought she might even die. She used to cry and say that he's no palace guard. All his life, he's been into stealing, gambling, and other useless stuff. He's selfish. Don't even know how many times he's taken money from his Uncle Seaman. He always wanted to be like his brother Thomas, but never could. Hearing this, Daria said, "Evan, you're my brother, and now I'm your little sister. You're a good person." Hearing that, Evan's eyes welled up because no one had ever said that to him before. A little later, the mechanical horse refused to go with them over the snowy mountains because it couldn't handle the altitude. They were scared, so Daria and Eva said goodbye and let him go. Anyway, they kept moving for quite a while through the icy mountains, but soon their condition got really bad. They started freezing from the cold. When Ivan finally climbed the last peak, he saw Jean stopped here with his balloon. Jean gave them warm clothes and some food, and explained that he wasn't just resting. He was actually stuck. His balloon's hot air had run out, and tearfully he said he wanted to go home, but at this rate, all three of them would freeze to death right here. But Ivan calmed him down and took care of him. Just then, the mechanical horse climbed up the mountains and reached them, saying, How could you leave me alone? Seeing the mechanical horse, Jean said, All right, man, we're saved. Because of the cold, warm air was coming out of the mechanical horse's mouth. After a while, the three of them got into the balloon and started heading towards Bird Island. Actually, Jean used the warm air coming from the mechanical horse's mouth to get the balloon flying again, and to keep the horse from getting scared of the height, he had tied a blindfold over its eyes. After some time, they both reached that lamp where two women who looked like birds appeared. Ivan asked them for the magical pen made from their feathers. One of them said, You humans are so greedy and selfish, always wanting everything for free. Are you willing to risk your life to get what you want? Would you give up your life? Pride had changed a lot. He didn't really care, but still, he laughed and refused, saying he was still young and not even married yet. Anyway, the two ladybirds felt sorry for him and reluctantly gave him the pen. She handed them over and then told Ivan to wait outside while she went to complete the deal with Sargi. Ivan said he had brought both items, but on one condition. He wouldn't become king anymore. Instead, Sargi had to remove the hypnotic spell from the queen and restore all her memories so she could recognize her daughter. At first, Sargi flat out refused and called his soldiers to forcefully take the pin and the seal from Ivan, but Ivan immediately threatened to destroy both. Sargi seemed scared, although Sargi spun around, put on the magic hat, and disappeared. Then, he killed Ivan and took the ink and pen. Using those, he refilled the ink in the magical book's spells. Sargi was super happy because now no one could stop him. The soldiers grabbed Ivan and threw him outside. After that, Daria asked Ivan if he had succeeded. Ivan suddenly remembered everything about his mother. Seeing Daria crying made Ivan really sad, so he had only one option left. He pulled out the wish-granting stone from his pocket and rubbed it. He demanded that somehow the spell on the queen be broken so she would come to Daria, even if it meant risking his own life. Now, this is where Ivan's story begins. One night, when Sargi and the boy were going to light a fire on the rocky shore to sink the ship, Ivan got fed up with Sargi. He threw dirt in her eyes, knocked her out, and then put out the fire. After that, he lit a fire on the safe side of the shore, like the king's men would do to steer the ship that way. The next morning, the king meets Baron the sorcerer along with his daughter and the queen, and Ivan was secretly watching from behind when the magician recited a spell and fixed Daria's eyes, so he could see everything clearly. Just then, Ivan returned to his own time, right in the middle of a war with the neighboring army. Ivan started loading cannonballs into the cannons again, and in no time, they won the battle. Ivan had help too, which made him a brave soldier of the kingdom. After the victory, King Baron, Daria, the queen, and Thomas all came to congratulate everyone. Ivan was overjoyed to see his brother Thomas safe and sound, and the two brothers embraced each other warmly. Ivan gave Thomas the earrings and told him to give them to Princess Daria. When Daria saw the earrings, she remembered everything and hugged Ivan tightly, because if a brother like Ivan hadn't been there for her, she would have lost everything. In the end, Sergi and Bala were already hanged for their betrayal. And that's how the story ends. If you love the explanation, don't forget to share with friends and subscribe the channel for more fantasy stories. Thanks.